With the 2025 college football season ending, it is now time to look ahead towards the 2026 season. The transfer portal, well, it's been a whirlwind. So let's go ahead and rank who will be the top 10 most impactful transfer portal players for the 2026 college football season. Now at number 1, this is a guy that was the number 1 portal player, Sam Leavitt. That was him. I now believe with the moves that LSU has made, bringing in Lane Kiffin, he recruits Leavitt to come there, that this will wind up being the most important and impactful transfer portal player. And it is because of this guy's right arm. He's talented. He's got a rocket. He can move around. He's athletic. 6'2", 205 pounds. I think he's going to put on a little bit of weight in their strength program. Big 12 champion 2 years ago. He threw 24 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. He ran for 750 yards and 10 touchdowns combined the last 2 years. So his ability to move around, his completion percentage, that's got to be a little bit higher, but he's going to be throwing to Nick Anderson, Tre'Dez Green. The biggest question is going to be the offensive line, but it really hopes that now they've got Jordan Seaton, arguably the best offensive lineman in college football going into next year. He was the number 1 portal offensive lineman, so a huge get for them. That offensive line, they were awful in 2025, 3.6 yards per carry. They could not get the run game going to help out their quarterback in Nussmeier. They gave up 29 sacks also. So just think about that offense with Trinidad Chambliss rolling around, making plays. He threw 22 touchdowns and 3 picks on the season. You take out the CFP and just the time with Kiffin, still 18 touchdowns and 3 interceptions on the year. So notable games for Sam Leavitt and the LSU Tigers. The home opener against Clemson, that's going to be really highly anticipated. They play at Ole Miss, going to play the Rebels. So Lane Kiffin going back to play his former team. That's going to have a ton of anticipation. They play Texas A&M. They play Alabama, Texas, at Tennessee. It is a gauntlet of a schedule, as it is for just about every SEC team. I think Sam Leavitt's going to be ready and prepared for a tough schedule, but this guy's got the opportunity to be another LSU Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. Joe Burrow, Jaden Daniels, this guy could be the next one, with arguably the best offensive coordinator that this program's had in quite some time. At number 2, let's go to a playmaker, a bona fide star in the making, and now he's going to Texas. At number 2, Cam Coleman, the transfer wide receiver. He transfers from Auburn into Austin. He's got to be easily a top 3 50-50 ball receiver the last couple of seasons, but I think pairing him now with Arch Manning, he had 1,300 yards, 13 touchdowns the last couple of years with abysmal quarterback play. It was awful with Thorne and then with Arnold this past season. Now with Arch Manning in Sarkisian, 26 touchdowns and 3,200 yards. The threat of Arch's mobility, that's going to soften the middle of the coverage. Teams allocate resources to prevent Arch's legs. So those safeties coming down to stop the run, or linebackers spying to keep their eyes and keep the presence for Arch's legs, that will open up things for Coleman over the middle. Now, that's my biggest question for Cam Coleman, is how does he develop as an intermediate level route runner? We know he can go with the fades, and he's got that 7 route down. He's got the corner, he's got the go ball, but what about the routes over the middle, catching the football? He had a bad fumble in the Iron Bowl against Alabama. This is a player that could be one of the top players taken in the 2027 NFL draft if all goes well for him. The Heisman contender at quarterback. Couple of notable games here. They play the Buckeyes September 12th. I'll be there at that game. They play at Tennessee, Red River against Oklahoma. There's Ole Miss, at LSU, at A&M. Look, this is the SEC, folks. It's a gauntlet. Cam Coleman knows the SEC very well, but this time he gets to operate in one of the best offenses in football and maybe the best offensive mind in the country. At number 3, here's another quarterback for everybody, Brandon Sorsby out of Cincinnati. He transfers to Texas Tech, this high-flying offense that they were in 2025. 27 touchdowns, 5 interceptions in this past season for him. he was incredible. 2,800 yards. The last 2 years, he was a threat, right? He threw for over 2,800 each of the last 2 seasons. He's got that frame. He can take hits. 235 pounds, over 1,000 yards rushing the past 2 years combined. 18 rushing touchdowns the last 2 years. So he's got that frame. He's mobile. It's a lot different from Behren Morton. You've got a guy that's willing to get those hard yards, extend plays. They had a really good rushing offense this season. I think they're going to get production from their quarterback this year. Think about right now where things were compared to where it probably was for this guy a year ago. Or you think about, man, where he winds up leaving Indiana, who brought in Rourke. They obviously bring in Fernando Mendoza, who wins the Heisman, but he is going to be with Mark Leftwich, and Behren Morton flourished with this offensive mind. They wound up extending him. This was an offense that had 3,900 passing yards combined, 33 touchdowns. The defense is going to be good, probably not as dominant. 41 sacks, 17 picks, 15 fumbles that they recovered, 32 takeaways. They're probably not going to be there getting their offense as much of that field position, but they had an excellent run game. I really believe that Texas Tech is going to be a threat. They're the team to beat in the Big 12 this season, and some notable games at Cincinnati. So you've got that matchup, and it's back-to-back. ASU, they play Arizona State, Cincinnati back-to-back. Baylor going to be playing DJ Lagway on the road, and then at home against TCU. So a couple of really big games. Texas Tech, if they don't go 11-1, got to be honest, I think something would have went wrong with the way that they've got talent and they bring in other guys on defense. I really believe this is an excellent team that can get a first-round bye once again next season. At number 4, let's keep it with the quarterbacks because these are the most important players in the country. Josh Hoover, the transfer to Indiana from Texas Christian University. Nobody's benefited more from transfer quarterbacks into Indiana. Curtis Rourke turns into an NFL draft pick in that offense with Shanahan. A 3-year starter at TCU for Hoover. 9,600 yards, 71 touchdowns. He did throw some picks, 33 interceptions, but he's got a good career completion percentage, over 65%. Doesn't have a big frame, but remember what the Hoosiers and Sig did with Mendoza. They said, kid, we're going to put 15 pounds on you, get you up to 225. I think Hoover's at around 203, 204 right now. Get this kid to around 215 pounds. He's not going to go be knocking people over, jumping into the end zone, but he is a pure pocket passer. He's similar to what you had in Rourke. I really think that him, Nick Marsh, Charlie Becker, this could be the best wide receiver duo in football. This is going to be a really fun offense to watch. Once again, they play Ohio State October 17th. They play USC, at Michigan, at Washington. So even if they go 2-2 in those games, I think they could go 3-1. You are without a doubt looking at a college football contender and a national title contender once again next season. At number 4, Josh Hoover, transferred from TCU to Indiana. Number 5, Coy Perich. He's got the ability to become a top 15 draft pick in Perich. I think that he's got higher upside than even what Dylan Thieneman produced, and he was a great back-end defender. This guy in Minnesota has been probably the most underrated player in the country of the last couple of seasons. Why? He's playing for the Minnesota Gophers. He's a potential Caleb Downs level transfer, a downhill defender, tough as nails, but he's a pure athlete. Returns punts and kickoffs. You understand how rare it is for a guy to return punts and kickoffs, to do kick return and punt return. Because punt return's quick, right? It's quick, short area, lateral quickness. Kickoffs, you want a guy that's fast. He's got both of those traits. And so he's replacing Thieneman. 128 total tackles, 6 interceptions combined for Perich the last 2 seasons. And guess what's in front of him? Jaire Alexander, Amari Washington, Mateo Uyunglele, and Tatum Tuioti. They are returning all 4 defensive line starters. This will be the best defensive line in college football next season, and they get to clean things up for Perich to roam around behind it and play the eraser role. I can't help but compare this to potential Caleb Downs level, turning a really good defense that had some holes into potentially the best unit in the country. And just think about how good that offense is going to be. Teams are going to be aggressive. They're going to try and put up points to keep up with Oregon. That opens up opportunities. Teams trying to air the ball out with Perich behind it. That pass rush, I think he's in for a 6-7. No, not trying to do that BS stuff right now. But yeah, like a 7 interception season. Pardon me. I'm not trying to do the stuff the young kids are doing these days. I'm too old for that. Some notable games at Ohio State, at USC, Washington, and Michigan. To me, this team's got 10-2, 11-1 written all over it. They'll be right there in the Big Ten race for the Big Ten title. And I really believe a CFP team, Dante Moore making that next step, probably would have been a top 3 pick in this upcoming draft. He's coming back to be a better player in the NFL because of experience in college. I think it's a great decision. Coy Perich at number 5. Number 6, let's keep it on defense. Damon Wilson transfers from Missouri to the Miami Hurricanes, the runner-up for the national title. It's really hard to replace Ruben Bain Jr. and Akeem Mesidor, and yet I think this guy's got the potential to be better than those guys, and that is not hyperbole. He had 9 sacks, 54 quarterback pressures, and you throw him under the tutelage of Jason Taylor. Bain had 10 sacks and 83 pressures. That was the most in the country. And Mesidor had 13 sacks, 67 pressures. Just imagine once Taylor gets his hands on this kid and Damon Wilson. You got Ahmad Moten returning. Muhammad Toure is back for his 8th year in college football. I think this guy's got the ability to possibly be in the candidates for the top 3 defensive players in the country. He's going to be getting after the quarterback. Going from the SEC to the ACC, I do believe that there could be a potential drop-off there. He's going to go up against some really good offensive linemen in practice and a chance to have a huge, like 14, 15 sack season in the ACC this year as long as he stays healthy. Fast, physical, bend off the edge. Him and Zion Young were so much fun to watch this year. They play at Notre Dame November 7th, so a late matchup there, a big one in November. But then they play at Clemson and Florida State. So you've got the big matchup against Notre Dame. They could lose that one, but still be fully in the running for the CFP. Look, 10 losses this year. It could wind up coming down to Notre Dame again. Who knows with the way that it works out, because Notre Dame gets that automatic bid, unlike this season. But Damon Wilson, love this guy's potential for next year. Let's keep it with these guys with the defensive line, because these are those impact players. Did a lot of quarterbacks earlier on. Let's keep it there. John Henry Daly at number 7, the transfer from Utah to Michigan. He had 11.5 sacks in 2025. 51 pressures, a 23% win rate. That was the 7th best in college football, by the way. And he goes with his coach. He files Cal Whittingham up north to Michigan. I love how robust this Michigan football team will be this year. He's essentially looking to replace Derek Moore. Derek Moore was a 10-sack guy, 2 forced fumbles. They're simply hoping that at Michigan you replace Derek Moore, you throw in John Henry Daly, and you've got a possible first-round pick coming in here. He puts up in double-digit sacks. There's no doubt he'll be a first-rounder. I love this guy's size. He's a D-end. He's got it written all over him with the size that he possesses. 6'3", 280 pounds. Excellent. Quicker than he looks. So, obviously, for Michigan, you know their big games. It's going to be at Oregon, at Ohio State. They got to find a way to split those. And then there's Oklahoma at home this year, Indiana, and Penn State. So where can Michigan find a way to go 3-2 in that stretch? Because 10-2 gets you into the playoff. 9-3, I just don't think it does from the Big Ten. Not with the SEC schedules this year. I believe this will be the first time they led a 3-loss team into the CFP from the Big Ten or the SEC. So look into that possibly. I think they got to go 3-2 in that stretch. That means a split from Ohio State and Oregon on the road. And then Oklahoma, Indiana, Penn State got to find a way to win 2 of those games. You got Rocco Becht, you got Josh Hoover, John Mateer. Some tough matchups against veteran quarterbacks. It's going to be tough stuff for Michigan. John Henry Daly, he can make his impact well known. Let's go to number 8, Jordan Seaton. Another LSU Tiger. We got another one also on this list coming up in a little bit. I think you know who it's going to be. Pretty obvious. But this kid is a mauler. He's an immovable object. LSU gave up 29 sacks last year. We talked about that. Their yards per carry, that was awful. Him joining this offense doesn't just potentially put them in contention to be a CFP team, to get into the playoff, but they're immediate national title contenders. You bring in Lane Kiffin and what he provides in offense, a playmaker like Sam Leavitt, and then that money that they're spending at the right positions like edge as well as offensive tackle. You got a guy that's 6'5", 330 pounds that runs 18 miles an hour. Not even more needs to be said about Seton. I think this guy's going to be a top 5 pick in the 2027 NFL draft. He is unbelievably talented. The question is, can he take the step up in competition from Colorado and put it together in the Southeast Conference? We're just going to have to find out. Let's go with his teammate at number 9 now. Princewill Umamielen transfers from Ole Miss to LSU. I'm putting a lot of chips to the middle of the table on this LSU Tigers team. Lane Kiffin and that offense, and then you put in a playmaker like this. 11 sacks, 51 pressures from Umamielen. Remember, his older brother, Princely, he is a pretty good player now for the Carolina Panthers. And Princewill, he's essentially trying to fill in to be something of what Harold Perkins was 3 years ago. A lot bigger, definitely better against the run in Umamielen. Their defense was good the first half of the year, but they fully fell off. They gave up 31 in a loss to Vandy, then 49 to A&M. Brian Kelly got fired, but Blake Baker and what he did with that defense, if they are able to sustain that, you lose Mansour Delane. That defense, I do believe, though, with what their offense will be able to produce, they're going to have opportunities. These high-flying offenses, now that you put your defense out there, teams are going to try and keep up in that track race, and you're going to have opportunities. There's going to be leads where teams are going to be throwing it a lot. I think Umamielen's due for a huge season. Ole Miss just kept getting better defensively this year after that Georgia game. A lot of that had to do with him out there. So you've got a guy that's going to add to his draft stock and compete probably for a national championship. Number 10, the final guy on this list, and then we got an honorable mention for you. There is Justice Haynes, the running back. Now, this might be an interesting one because Georgia Tech might not figure to be the most exciting team, but think about what they have been under Brent Key. Physical. They run the heck out of the football. And how about a guy that has 7.1 yards a carry this past season coming into the next year? 857 yards, 10 touchdowns in just 7 games is what he produced at Bama. A lot of the same, and he wound up transferring, but 6.7 yards per carry his freshman year, 5.7 sophomore year. Jamal Haynes leaves. He declares for the draft. You're inserting this guy in now. Georgia Tech had 463 rushing attempts, 2,567 yards rushing with Alberto Mendoza now at quarterback. I think it's a perfect fit. Physical guy, mobile. He's going to basically fill into that Haynes King role, and I think he's got even more upside as a thrower of the football. They had 31 rushing touchdowns last year, a mobile option at quarterback now, and a straight home run hitter. Go back to the very first play of this second half against the Oklahoma Sooners in week 2 in that Saturday night game. I think Justice Haynes has got the potential to get this Georgia Tech team into the ACC title game. They were a game away from doing it last year. They came up just short at the end of the year. This is their chance. A lot of individuals are going to count them out, but look at what they're bringing in this year as well as that running back room. They're going to be physical on defense. The question is, what does Clemson look like? What does Florida State look like in that conference? I think we have an idea that Miami's going to be pretty good. Georgia Tech's going to be slept on. I believe that's a big mistake. Notable games at Georgia at the end of the season, as always. They got at Clemson. They play Tennessee. They play at Pitt and Duke. Notably, though, 2 of those games are non-conference. So you could lose to Tennessee and Georgia, but you could still wind up going 2-1 against Clemson, Pitt, and Duke. Find yourself with a conference record with only 1 loss, and you're in the ACC title game. So I think that it's possible a 3-loss Georgia Tech team could find themselves in the playoff. Possibly, they most likely would have to win the ACC title, but I've got a lot of faith in that program. Brent Key's as good as it gets. How about Justice Haynes, the running back? Cannot wait to see this guy with the Yellow Jackets. We're going to do an honorable mention here. Toby Osunsami. I know that name might not be known by a lot of people. Go back to week 1. Imagine yourself. You haven't seen college football in such a long time. It's been 6 months. Here's a kid from Kansas State that is a game wrecker in that one. Remember Kansas State? There was a guy that you're like, who is this? Osunsami? I can't even pronounce that name, so you probably forgot about him. He got hurt in October, but he had 4 sacks in the early going of the season. He is a Mikhail Kamara type guy, I believe, with a little bit more explosive ability, a little bit faster. He's trying to fill in for Mikhail Kamara or Stephen Daly for the Indiana defense. It's going to be an excellent defense for the Hoosiers. Once again, Brian Haynes, he gets that extension. Such a great job from Cignetti signing those guys. But Osunsami, he's not going to be talked about a lot unless by those who really saw what he put on tape for the first 4 games of the season. This is a player that could be an absolute breakout contender, and I think as high as a day 2 pick in the 2027 NFL Draft. Look out for Osunsami. Cignetti knows how to find guys. And there's a reason why he was a top 100 transfer portal individual. Osunsami out of Kansas State, now at the Indiana Hoosiers. Look out for some of those. You got teams with multiple guys, 3 with LSU, 2 with Indiana. Cannot wait for the upcoming college football season. Can't really call it upcoming. It's going to be about a wasteland of 6 months here. But it's always upcoming here with Blitz with Blender. We're always looking ahead, staying optimistic, talking about the sports. We're going to be doing a lot of draft coverage as well. So if you're into the NFL Draft, this is the perfect place for you. I cover the NFL and college every day. It's 24/7, 365 here with Blitz of Blender. I'm recording this video on a Friday night at almost midnight. So that just goes to show you what my life is. Tomorrow night, most likely I'm doing the exact same thing, recovering. We're going to be recording another football video. This is everything. It's our favorite thing to do. We're going to continue to do it because there are people that love this sport. They want more information. They want to learn a little bit more. They want to hear about some of the fun guys who maybe they should keep an eye on. This is a list of 10 guys and an honorable mention that you should keep an eye on for next season. Appreciate you so much for watching. If you have not already, please subscribe for more content. My name's Josh Blender, and this offseason is gonna be slow, but also it can go by a little bit quicker with this show, and hopefully it comes through here that we're trying to get better. This is by no means perfect, but giving us that support with a like, a comment, a subscribe for down below what type of content you might like to see. That helps me continue to do this, make better content as we go along, improve every day so that I can ultimately entertain and make these videos more enjoyable for you to watch. So I appreciate you so much for watching. It was an unbelievable college football season. The off season is going to be fun. Don't worry. Hang in there. We got you covered. Appreciate you. I'll see you next time.
Best player in college football.
That Georgia and Ohio State game, New Year's Eve, is going to be a classic.
Josh Blender. Hi, everybody. I'm Josh Blender.
To the 40, 35, 30, Espinoza to the 20.